welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making a magical oil. So we're going to be making a success oil. This recipe is out of my magical oils book. If you are interested in that book, it is linked below. So this oil is for success. So the things that you're going to need a small jar. I have a dropper bottle here. This was reused from something or other, I think, some sort of face cream or serum or something like that. And then I just cleaned it out and we're going to reuse it. You're going to need your preservative. So I have vegetable glycerin. You could use vitamin E. You're going to need the oil of your choice. I have grapeseed oil. You can use whatever oil that you choose. You're going to need some cinnamon. I've got cinnamon bark here. Hopefully I can break it up small enough to get into that bottle. I have clover. So this is clover that I have harvested myself, but we're going to use a little bit of that. I have ginger. So this is like the cooking spice that you buy in the baking aisle at Walmart. And then you're going to need High John the Conqueror root, which I do not have, but I do have the oil. So we're going to add a little bit of this oil to our oil, and that's going to be the correspondent for High John the Conqueror. Okay, so I'm just placing down a little Kleenex here because I don't want to get it all over my table. I'm going to take my jar and my vegetable glycerin. So how you measure this is you're going to take and you're going to put your preservative about 1/4 of the total width of your jar. Now I need to be able to put this back in here. So I know that I can really only go up to the shoulder of this jar, you know, where it starts to turn in. So I'm only going to put a little bit in there. And I just normally use one of these pipettes, and that's how I put it. I transfer it. That way I don't get any germs into my vegetable glycerin. You could pour it in if your jar is big enough. But I don't think that I'm steady enough this morning to do that, so. So I don't know if you could see that. It's what I would consider about 1/4 of a jar. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to put the lid back on that. And then I like to add a little bit of my oil, just a little bit to keep things from sticking. So it's not a whole lot. It's probably about to there. And then we're going to start adding our herbs. And we're going to enchant these for success with every herb that we're adding into it. I'm hoping I can break some of this cinnamon bark off because I didn't want to put too much powders in there. And I do have 2 powders that I am already using, so I think that'll fit. So you don't need a whole lot, so just a little bit of cinnamon, and I'm going to go ahead and enchant that for success. And then I'm just going to add that to my oil. Now next is clover. Now this is not really a powder, but it is ground up clover that I had harvested from our yard many years ago. But it's still good. You don't need a whole lot because my jar's not very big. So I'm just going to go ahead and enchant this for success. And then I'm going to try to add this without dumping it everywhere. And then the next thing is ginger. And all I have is ginger powder. I normally don't like to use powders in bottles like these, but it's all I got. So, and I'm going to enchant that for success. And it will all filter down once we get the oil in there. And then the last thing is John the Conqueror. Like I said, I don't have the actual root, but the root is in this oil. So we're going to use a little bit of this oil to add to our oil, and it will work the same way. So just a dropper full. And then we're going to fill it up the rest of the way with our oil. Sorry if you guys can hear all that ruckus out there. My neighborhood's very noisy today. I don't know why. So as I'm doing this, I'm kind of running it down this top where all of that's kind of stuck, and that's kind of pushing the rest of it down into the bottle. If you don't have one of these pipettes, then you can just pour it in. You could use like a little container, pour the oil into a little container that has like a little spout on it. And I think that's as far as I'm going to take it because I have to get my dropper in. So it looks like that. And then I'm going to just enchant this bottle one more time before I put the lid on it and give it a really good shake. So, okay, and then we're just going to put the dropper in and give it a really good shake. Using that piece of cinnamon bark will kind of be able to get that mixed up a little bit better because we did use the powder. It should help with that. So it looks like that. Not sure if you guys, it'll focus hopefully. So it looks like that. It's quite pretty. But you want to give it a really good shake and shake it for a little bit because we want to get that vegetable glycerin mixed into all of this oil. And you're going to want to do that every time you go to use it. Give it a really good shake, thinking about the intention, and reactivate it. So it's kind of turning it green. Looks nice. So I hope that you guys like this, and I'll see you next time. Bye!